Hello everyone, Voodoo here, and today I want to talk about Fel-Scarred. No secret that a lot of people don't like Aldrachi Reaver, but right now Fel-Scarred, our other hero talent tree for Demon Hunter in general, is just really bad. So today we're going to talk about its issues and just some really quick, simple fixes that will boost it up and make it actually at least playable in the War Within, because right now it is so far behind, there is absolutely no point in playing it. So we're going to dive into that. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to help grow the channel, and let's get on to it. All right, so at this point you've probably heard me complain, I guess is the right word, on end about Aldrachi. What about Fel-Scarred? Fel-Scarred really has not gotten a ton of coverage at all, because it's so far behind. So Fel-Scarred is our other hero tree. We've gone over it already, but the main stuff here is basically Demon Surge, which is little empower damaging effects you get whenever you use empowered abilities, those being Death Sweep and Annihilation baseline, but also being empowered versions of I-Beam, Immolation Aura, and Sigil Flame whenever you use Metamorphosis. That's basically all the tree does. There is one small thing where you get like a little mastery bonus whenever you use Sigil Flame, as well as resetting it with meta, and then also there's like an aura, Immolation Aura stuff. The talents on the left and right side are entirely passive and can basically be ignored. All four of these don't really do anything. So that's the baseline there. That is the hero talent tree. The visuals are not very good, but we'll get there towards the end of the video. So first things first, what are the main issues here? Well, the biggest issue is, generally speaking, just how poorly tuned Fel-Scarred is. So to illustrate that, we will be swapping over to some sims and to a log. Okay, so we're here with sims. So I will say that this is a little bit lower than our current top sim. I think I'm like 40k lower. Couldn't figure out why, didn't really matter. But again, these are kind of our top builds. So we have Low Mover, which is our top one. It's a little bit further ahead. It's at like 538 instead of 494. But again, it doesn't really matter. 2% ahead of current gear, which is a inertia build that drops the Immolation Aura talents completely, for just picking up some other like Annihilation stuff. And then here we have Fel-Scarred at 823,000. That's very low. That is a 45% behind Low Mover right now, even more so if you factor in the fact that it's a little bit higher. In the previous video, you saw this being a little bit higher than this, and this, to my knowledge, is our highest simming single target build for Fel-Scarred, of course. In the previous video, though, this was higher. They've gone through and they've nerfed these cursed enchants. You can see them on the rings here. They used to give you minus like 300 verse, but plus like 3,000 some haste, which is a crazy amount of haste. For reference, that is basically double what this trinket's giving you as an on-equip. So you basically have like an insane amount of haste there, right? Like none of these gears come close, right? This gives you 3,000 crit. So like you'd have multiple jewelry worth of stats from them, so they're crazy. Those were nerfed, and that dropped Fel-Scarred down. Definitely could use some more APL cooking, but it's at the point where like there's not a ton more you could do. And this is our best build for it, and it is 45% behind. Now, if you look at like an actual log, all the damage that you'd think or want to have from this tree would be Demon Surge, and Demon Surge here is only doing like 4%. And it actually can miss. So you see here, it can be parried. So there's a bug right now, with any means necessary, that's actually turning it into physical chaos, which means it can be parried. But it doing less damage than melee is terrible, really not good at all. And its damage is just so piss poor. This is a Vengeance Demon Hunter sim. I'm not sure if this is the highest you could get. This is the highest I've been able to find at 675, whatever. That's not that far behind Fel-Scarred. So Fel-Scarred right now is essentially doing tank damage, and you can see even here with the tooltip up, the maximum damage it's doing isn't even that high. Like if we look over at something like this, the maximum damage for a Low Mover build is significantly higher at 1.6. The inertia build is at like 1.6 as well, and this one down here is at 900,000. So not only is it very low, it's very consistent. So it's not going to hit much higher damage, not going to hit much lower damage, but even the minimum here is still at 1.3 million. The minimum here is at 743,000. So the damage is just absolutely piss poor. But that's not the only thing wrong with it. So we're back on the game here. I think the other thing that I don't like about this tree is, again, I mentioned them briefly, all these kind of boring nodes that don't do anything. We have 50 extra increased fury, which realistically doesn't do much. You can bank a bit more before demonic windows, but that doesn't really matter. We never really had a problem with that. You just won't overcap basically ever. We don't play Fel Barrage, which I guess would help with this, but again, like, we're not playing that. You have this node, which deals 35% increased damage when it strikes a single target, which has the isolated prey issues, which is not good. And then you have stuff like Monster Rising, which is 5% agility while not in your demon form, and Enduring Torment, which is 5% Chaos Strike and Blade Dance damage, and 3% haste while not in your demon form. So a lot of these things here, while they are just kind of passive nodes you don't feel, they're also like boring and numerically weak. 50 Fury is nothing. 35% to a single target only is nothing. And then these things are also very minor. Agility 5% is probably the biggest one, but a lot of Havoc's damage, especially when your, whole fantasy is supposed to be about being in the demon, being in demon form and doing damage like that, is not coming outside of demon form, right? We have Essence Break, we have all that kind of stuff. So all of our damage is in the demon form first window, and even if you don't play Essence Break, you play like a low mover, no mover build, all your damage comes from inside Cycle of Hatred, Shattered Destiny stuff, so you're being in demon form. So these things are very bad. They don't really do anything, and numerically they're very weak, and I think they're very boring. So I really would like to see those things change around. Same with this thing here, where it's just striking a single target. I don't know why this couldn't be primary target, and I don't know why it couldn't be, boosting it up even more. So it's weak. The nodes themselves are fairly boring. But there's one other thing that I don't like about it, and most people don't like about it. So let's jump over to some target dummies, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, we're back on the dummies. I'm just gonna make sure I'm in the right build. So this is the last thing that I don't like. So we go here, we're gonna I-beam, and we have our things glowing. Now I don't have any fury, so we'll get some more fury here. I'm gonna use Death Sweep. Boom. Use Chaos Strike. Oh, I guess actually I ran out of demon form, so we'll just meta, I guess. I'm gonna use Death Sweep, see a little Fel-Fart. Boom. I'll use Death Annihilation, little Fel-Fart. That's all kind of the visuals are. You see we have brand new icons for Consuming Fire, which is Immolation Aura, Sigil of Doom, which is Sigil of Flame, and Abyssal Gaze, which is I-Beam. But if I push them, they look the exact same. There's no actual visual changes to any of them. The only change is the little Fel-Fart around you that is actually just Green Hunt. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's just Green Hunt that they kind of turned. So the visuals to this tree are non-existent. Now the same is true for the other Havoc tree, right? If anyone's played Aldrachi at all, anyone's seen my other videos, the Aldrachi Reaver visuals are also basically zero. But the tree as a whole just doesn't really look visually impactful. I think a tree like this would be a lot easier to sell to people if it looked visually impactful. So you got a lot of problems with it, right? It's numerically weak. All these nodes are boring and pull you in the wrong direction with the out of uniform stuff, and it's not visually impactful at all. Like literally not at all. So how do we fix this, right? Like how do we actually make this better? Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways of doing that, and realistically the best way to do it is just buffing it, right? So if we look here at the tree, you're gonna read it and there's like no damage here. Demon Surge does, I think, 100 AP, or it's 76,000 fire damage, right? That is not a lot. It also gives us the benefit of giving us 5% max health and 20 armor while you're in meta, so a little bit of defensiveness there. Pretty inconsequential. Again, you're probably not going to use meta as a defensive, but you can if you ever are saving that for the immunity meta has. It's now better to do so, but that's pretty much nothing. The 75,000, 76,000 fire damage does scale with anything that turns fire damage to other stuff, so anything necessary does increase it, which is why the mastery buff is also pretty good from Student of Suffering. But the damage is just non-existent. On top of that, right, we only get this from Chaos Strike and Annihilation. We get it from much more of them if we use meta, right? We get 5 instead of 2. And each time you use one, it deals 10% more damage for each time it triggered. Now the downside to that, we go up into a dummy here, and I use I-Beam. We got meta back. So watch my buffs. So we're gonna go in here. I'm gonna use I-Beam. I'm gonna use 1. Now we have 1 buff. I'm gonna use another 1. Now we have 2 buffs. I'm going to meta. All those buffs are gone. Completely gone. I'll do 1. I'll do 2. I'll do 3, 4, and of course 5. Then I have 5 again. Now these are going to drop before I could ever use another one, which is, I guess, something. I don't know why they couldn't just stay up the whole time. But even if I were to get an I-Beam back, so we'll just kind of push buttons here. I'm not going to do proper rotation or anything like that. There's no real point in me doing that. Even if we were to get another I-Beam back there, we wouldn't actually be able to re-trigger the Demon Surge again. So you're capped at 5 here. So the highest damaging one isn't even going to do that much damage, right? So 7%, and this was me not doing any rotational stuff correctly at all. You had 7 hits for 1.3 million damage, and that was basically all I was doing. Chaos Strike had 24 hits for 3 million. This had 24 hits for 3 million. Spell Devastation, like all this stuff here, just hits kind of harder than Demon Surge does. And this is with me, again, not doing anything else, me just pushing Demon Surge. So it's a very passive thing, doesn't do a lot of damage, which sucks. So the first thing to do is just like buff this, like double its damage, buff it by 100%. That is by far the easiest way to go about fixing this. It's going to do a lot more damage that way and be actually impactful, and also maybe be used in Mythic Plus, because you think this would be good in Mythic Plus. It's not. It is fine, but the AoE damage you do is basically all you're doing. It does like no single target damage, as we saw on that sim, and it's only doing burst damage, right? Once you're done with the Demon Surges, you're doing nothing. So we got to buff that by 100%. We got to make it so that Demon Surge is either a 20% increase, which it already was doing beforehand, that's how the data mine was, or just don't make it reset, right? Make the initial 2 kind of carry on into the next one, or even make I-Beam be able to re-trigger it and maybe push some kind of cycle build with this as well, which I think some people would like, because cycle is actually about even with this build here, because you do get more of the buffed up Demon Surge stuff, but it's fun. So that's number 1. You just got to buff the stuff. It's just doing no damage. Number 2, we really got to figure out something to do with all these weak nodes. This one here would be very easy to fix. It needs to be a much higher so that it actually can do single target damage, but make it be at your primary target. So Demon Surge deals, let's say like 70% or 60% or something like that, increased damage to your primary target. That would work as a single target increase, but also work as a priority damage increase. Aldrachi right now does so much more priority damage than Fel-Scarred. It's not even remotely close to being anywhere near that. It's like planets apart, galaxies even. So that's another easy fix. This maximum Fury node really does nothing, basically nothing at all. Realistically, you're never really feeling this. Sure, you overcap every now and then as Havoc, but that's more so when you have Blind Fury, and we're not going to run Blind Fury, right? So this doesn't really do anything. Maybe this could have some kind of play with every Fury you spent gives you 1% haste stacking new stacks. Like give like a I don't know, I guess Iron Fur is one. There's the Festermite, I think is the one for Death Knights. Give it like a Festermite haste thing. That could work pretty well. And then these nodes here just make no sense. I think having them be stronger and being like, whenever you do X things inside demon form, gain X power outside of demon form could be interesting, or have them be like just something else than a boring flat increase in our lowest damage environment. But I get the idea behind making your worst damage areas better, but I think the way they do this is just boring and not very good. So that's damage fixed, that's the talents fixed, and you gotta just give us something visually. When this Demon Surge thing was data mined, there was a little piece of text that was like, for each Demon Surge you trigger, you get more and more demonic, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but that's just not present. We don't have any demonic extra features. And then beyond that, the 3 new looking abilities here, I-Beam, Immolation Aura, and Sigil Flame, or Abyssal Gaze, Consuming Fire, and I think it's Sigil of Doom. They look the exact same. Like if we go into the thing here, I'll use I-Beam. Oh, you guys couldn't see that, but most people know what I-Beam looks like. Sigil Fire looks the same. Immolation Aura looks the same. We meta. We have a brand new icon. Looks the exact same. Just has a little fell fart. We Immolation Aura looks the exact same. We Sigil of Doom looks the exact same. And again, just to show, I'm going to hunt one of these things over here. It's the same animation as the Fellfire thing. It's just earned. So give us new animations. Give us some new things down there. I think it would go a long way to looking a lot better. Make us look more demonic, like the original thing said. That would be cool looking. Maybe they changed it because we're getting demonic customization, but I doubt it. So that's kind of how you fix this, right? You increase the damage a lot because it just numerically it is so weak. There's not really any scenario where you'd ever play it. You make these talents a little bit more interesting, which I think is a secondary goal, and then you just make it visually impactful, which is like a tertiary thing, right? But the damage first needs to be better. Aldrachi, again, like I showed you guys, is like 500,000 more than that now. I think it's like almost 50% more damage, which is like an insane difference. So damage increase by buffing this, and maybe don't make them reset. Make these nodes actually do something, and then give us more visuals, and Fel-Scarred is fixed, hopefully. So that's the video. I know a lot of people are kind of down on Aldrachi and Havoc in general right now, and I don't really blame you. I think it's very fair to feel that way. But hopefully in the coming days we get some news. Hopefully Fel-Scarred gets some buffs and makes it a little bit better. Hopefully Aldrachi gets completely reworked, I guess. I don't know. I'm just not very excited to play Aldrachi, even though obviously I end up will, because it's currently the best by a wide margin. But hopefully Fel-Scarred's at least buffed up to be like 5 to 10% behind, so there's at least a option to play it, because right now you're doing like tank damage with it, which is like insanely low. So there you go. That's the video today. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If Havoc gets changes this week, expect a video Wednesday-ish about them. If not, expect a video towards the weekend about a new melee spec. We're taking a look at it on the channel. Probably Windwalker Monk, I think, is the next one, but we'll see. So hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time. Peace. A big thank you to all of my channel members. Thank you Sky Elk, Andrew Keenel, 100,001 Zans, Brad Wisniak, Felfa Darren Dark Terror, and Magic Man 133. Thank you all so much. If you want to help support me and help fund the channels and the videos, follow the link in the description to become a channel member and get some cool perks in the process. Again, thank you all so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.